What's going on, everybody? Trevor Sikkema here, welcoming you into another edition of Mock the Mock, the internet mock draft show hosted by me, where we take a look at the latest mock draft over at the Draft Network and pick out some selections that I think could have been different, maybe should have been different. One of the two. We figure out how we can change the pick and make it a little bit better or more realistic for this episode, since we are getting closer to the draft. That's what we got to do here. Drae Harris, he is the mock draft author that we are going to be poking at today. I mean, Drae makes some great mocks. Former scout. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but we got to have a little bit of fun with him here. We're starting with the big news, and we've got to start with what happened at number 3 overall, because it's no longer the Miami Dolphins that are picking at number 3 overall. It is the San Francisco 49ers. They gave up 3 first-round picks, one this year, one in 2022, and then one in 2023 to move up from number 12 all the way up to number 3 for what we assume is a quarterback. Now, this mock selection's a little bit different because Drae has them taking Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields. And I'm not mocking the prospect here. I would be picking Justin Fields. If this was up to me, I'd be taking Justin Fields. I just don't think it happens. I'm not so sure. From everything we've heard about the league, it just seems like that's not the direction they're going. It seems like Trey Lance and even Mac Jones might be higher than Justin Fields for some teams. Now, is that going to be the case with the 49ers? That we're not sure of. It could very well be Justin Fields here, but I really believe that it's for Trey Lance. The way that they were talking about Jimmy Garoppolo and how they want to have him for 2021 and how he can groom the guy who they're about to draft. I mean, all of that tells me that Trey Lance is the guy that they're going after. That makes the most sense here. And so Justin Fields, this pick, in a nutshell, I actually really like it, and that's what I'd be doing too. I think it's going to be Trey Lance at the end of the day. Next, we got to talk about a team that did not get a quarterback, because there's going to be a handful of organizations that would love to draft a quarterback, but they're not going to have the chance to get one. There are only so many quarterbacks that are going to go in the top 15 in the first round overall, and I think that there's more teams that would actually want one. So for those teams that don't get the chance to grab a quarterback, what are they going to do here? The Patriots are one of those teams, and they didn't have the chance to get anybody. I mean, the big 4 were off the board, and then Mac Jones as well. He went off the board 1 pick before number 15 when the Patriots came on the clock. And so Drae had them taking running back Najee Harris. And man, I got to say, they could go a lot of different directions, and they should go a lot of different directions outside of getting Najee Harris. I love Najee. He's going to end up being my running back 1 because, man, I think that he is really talented. Even though he doesn't have the home run speed, he is just so great at everything that you want him to do at that position, whether it's on third down and pass protection, receiving, or of course early down work when he's got the ball in his hands. He is a great prospect. But for the Patriots, they already had a great offensive line last year. They had Sony Michel. They had Damian Harris. I mean, like, they've got guys who can produce in the backfield. You don't need to spend 15 overall on Najee Harris, especially when Rashad Bateman was still on the board. J.C. Horn was still on the board at that point. You got to look elsewhere. I like Najee as a prospect, but this is a true mock the mock selection here because I couldn't get with Najee Harris going number 15 to the Patriots. Last but not least, we got to talk about the Green Bay Packers. Now, Drae has them getting an offensive weapon. He has them going wide receiver, which is something that a lot of people wanted the Packers to do last year. But it's the type of receiver he gives them that I'm just not down with. He gives them Terrace Marshall Jr., the wide receiver from LSU, who, again, a good prospect, but they have his type already. They have those vertical players. They have Devontae Adams, Valdez-Scantling, Alan Lazard. Like, they have all those guys on the team already. And even though Terrace Marshall is a big-bodied guy who can stretch it vertical from the slot, I feel like they would want a more underneath player. Make it a little bit easier, get it in the ball with somebody's hands quickly. Give us an Elijah Moore, a Rondale Moore, something like that. A Kadarius Toney, even, depending on how much you trust his route running and his development there. I think that Terrace Marshall Jr., whereas he is a good wide receiver, I think he could help the Packers. They already kind of have his skill set. So I think if they're going to go wide receiver here, just go a different type of wide receiver. Now, cornerback market wasn't great there. Interior defensive line, I don't know if they're going to be selecting. And so wide receiver could definitely be high on their priority list this year. But I'm not so sure Terrace Marshall's the guy to fill that role. Go get a different kind of receiver, something you don't have, round out the room. That is all the mocking of Drae's mock that we're going to be doing this week. But, of course, we have favorite fits, and there are a lot of them that we got to talk about, including some dealing with the big trades that happened last week that we're going to get to later this week.